Let me ask you this. One reason why the UFC would not be giving Nate Diaz his fight yet. Okay. It is directly related to the Jake Paul situation. What's one of the reasons they would not give Nate Diaz his fight until Jake Paul's fight is over this time? Ready? Go. Put it in the comments. All right, Jesse on Fire, welcome back to the channel. Welcome to my new studio, you guys. Look at this. I owe it to you guys. I have incredible gratitude in my heart right now because people supported me for so long. And look at my new set, dude. Thank you guys. Now we're gonna talk about Nate Diaz because Nate Diaz did a hilarious interview with Ariel Helwani yesterday on the MMA Hour, but he said some things, again, I haven't seen anyone bring this up, and he said something like he had a huge takeaway in this video that is one of the funniest things I've ever heard in my entire life, and no one's talking about it. It's like the takeaway from the Nate Diaz interview with Helwani was like, he wants out of his contract. He's being held hostage. I'm like, all right, that's it? It's the only thing I've seen. Oh, well, Nate really wants out. Nate really wants to fight Jake. I'm like, dude, he said he gave you insane insight that no one is talking about. Why am I the only one that ever sees this stuff? Anyway, I just think big channels, they don't have to work hard, dude. Like, they don't have to work hard. I'm a small channel still, but I'm coming, son. I'm coming. Now, if you want to drive with me on this journey and join the most active MMA community on YouTube, that's this channel. Feel free to subscribe. Now, why you would subscribe? Because each one of these videos is essentially like a SureDog thread topic, okay? That's how I look at it, and that's how the people who are like regular subscribers on my channel look at it. I do a video. You guys know I'm going to read the comments. Everyone else is going to read the comments, and you guys can engage in a high-level conversation down there. And you will not find a lot of stupid people in there. You're going to see a lot of very, very high-end MMA fans having very high-level MMA conversations. And so if you subscribe and you ring the bell, you'll get notified every single time that I post a new video, so you don't miss out on being at the very top of the community section in that video. Because if you respond quickly, people respond to that one, and you end up prioritized at the very top, and people are commenting on yours. I pin it sometimes, all that. So go ahead and subscribe if you want, and I will be excited to have you. Now, the other thing too, before we jump into this, and I'm telling you, I'm not overselling this. The thing that Nate Diaz, this is one of the funniest things I've ever heard Nate do. And Nate is a very funny dude. But before that, I wanted to tell you this. So you see all these Jordans up here? The reason those are up there is because every month we do a Jordans giveaway on this channel, okay? And we do it in partnership with Sheath Underwear. So how that works is if you go on to sheathunderwear.com and you purchase a pair of Sheath underwear using the promo code FIRE20, that's FIRE20, and you send a receipt to my email, which is in the description, realjesseonfire@gmail.com, then you get entered into the monthly raffle. Now, I raffle it off. I draw 5 names. Those 5 people get to compete live on my channel once a month for MMA trivia, and then the winner gets the J's. Okay? Look at the J's. You'll get your own pair if you win the trivia. We're probably going to do this one. I said I was going to do it this weekend. I'm going to try to do it this weekend. If I can't do it this weekend, we're going to do it next week. But for sure, the people from June have already been drawn. They all know who they are. We're going to do it. If you want to get picked for next month, go ahead, go on sheathunderwear.com and then use the promo code FIRE20. Send me the receipt, and you'll be entered. And then you could come on the channel potentially and do trivia. Anyway, so here's what we got. So Nate Diaz. So he goes on Ariel Helwani's show, which is hilarious, obviously. Right out of the gate, it's hilarious, okay? Because he's on there, and people here's the thing, Nate has the world fooled, man. He's got the world fooled. People look at Nate, they're all, oh, look at this goof, man. He's talking slow, he's being goofy, he doesn't even know what he's doing. It's like, dude, okay. Why is he doing this interview right now then? Why the impromptu video on Ariel's show right now? I don't know. It looks like he just had some random people over and wanted to do this barbecue, blah, blah, blah. It's like, no, that's incorrect. No. Actually, Jake Paul is promoting his fight this week. He's doing a big press conference. You can go check out one of the Jake Paul's interviews on Full Send MMA's channel. OG Shawnee Mack did an interview with Jake Paul yesterday, and he put it up. It had 100,000 views in 5 minutes. But that's a good one. You can go watch that. But they're promoting the Jake Paul fight this week, okay? They're promoting the Jake Paul fight this week. And so Nate Diaz, who wants out of his contract so he can fight Jake Paul, is obviously doing it as a result of all of the attention being on Jake Paul. So if people think that like Nate Diaz is tripping over his dick and landing on like good strategy, you don't understand him. He's smart. He has really good fight game. It's not, he had to win the fight against Conor to get in the position he's in, but he's making real money. Okay? He's making real money. And I don't think that's a coincidence, dude. Lots of people can beat Conor and not because as big of a star as Nate Diaz. So strategically, that's why he's doing the interview when he's doing the interview. But what was in the interview was very telling. So first of all, he's doing the thing where he's saying, I'm being held hostage. Let's start putting pressure on the UFC to let me go. Okay, so there's that. Now, here's a big thing that I'm going to tell you right now. Something huge that I almost would have forgot to put in this video if I didn't just think of it right now, okay? So let me ask you this. One reason why the UFC would not be giving Nate Diaz his fight yet, okay? It is directly related to the Jake Paul situation. What's one of the reasons they would not give Nate Diaz his fight until Jake Paul's fight is over this time? Ready? Go. Put it in the comments, okay? This is quiz show number 1. Put in the comments why strategically the UFC would not give Nate Diaz a fight prior to Jake Paul fighting, okay? And here's the answer. Why does Nate want out of his contract? Because he wants to fight Jake Paul. Why does he want to fight Jake Paul? Because there's a bunch of money for him right there, right? What happens if Jake Paul gets knocked the fuck out in this fight? What happens if Jake Paul goes in there, fights against Rodman, and the guy decapitates Jake Paul? Not only just beats the shit out of him and then decapitates him. What happens then? What happens to their odds of re-signing Nate? They go up pretty high, right? Since Nate wants out for one specific reason. And if that reason gets its ass kicked in a couple weeks, then that reason goes away and they can re-sign Nate Diaz. So obviously they're not going to give him a fight until this Jake Paul thing goes off, because if he loses, that puts the UFC in a much stronger negotiating position and gets it much more likely that Nate Diaz will re-sign. Now, Nate is saying that he's not re-signing no matter what. Maybe he'll come back to the UFC, but not until he's a free agent. He wants to negotiate from the position of being a free agent. That is point number 1 that I haven't heard anyone talk about. It's not the point, not the one I'm alluding to, but that's one of the points, is that he's saying like, dude, I might come back to UFC, maybe, but I'm not negotiating until I fight my last fight out. He wants to negotiate as an unrestricted free agent. Now, let me ask you this again. You think Nate's stupid? Who thinks that Nate is just tripping over his dick and landing on this kind of strategy? Okay? Raise your hand if you think he's tripping on his dick and landing on this strategy. Nope, not me. I think he's smart, okay? Because coming up against free agency, the closer you get, the higher your negotiating leverage is. Nate Diaz as a true free agent, okay? Right now, in all honesty, I am not sure if I should say this publicly. I am not going to say this publicly. Hypothetically, if a fighter is past the due date on their contract, right, where they should be a free agent, if they're past the expiration date anyway, can they just go fight? Or is the UFC going to litigate and make them fight their last fight if they haven't fought the contract out? So what I'm saying is, like, let's say Francis Ngannou, right? Francis had one fight left on his deal, again, when he was going into the Gane fight, okay? He had one fight left on his deal, and he took the fight with Gane even though he had a torn MCL. He could have very easily said, my knee is injured, I can't fight. The expiration date on his contract is December of this year. He could have very easily stretched out his recovery for 11 months and hit the end of his contract. He would have still had a fight left, but the contract, as I understand it, says the end date supersedes the fights on the contract. But that gives the UFC a lot of leverage in court to litigate. They'd be like, no, he hasn't fought his contract out. Okay? That's why Francis was smart, I mean, in hindsight, now that he won, to take that fight and not just try to go off the end date. Nate may or may not be in the same situation where his end date has expired. However, he still has one fight on his deal. So it's possible he could litigate in court and say, I'm already out of my contract, but nonetheless, whatever. The UFC has a hold on Nate still as long as that fight is not finished. Now, the second that it's finished and Nate can really entertain external offers, the UFC has to negotiate against those, which is why they're trying to hold on as tight as they can so that they can hopefully have Jake Paul not win the fight, and then that hurts them or hurts Nate in the negotiation. Okay, so those are a couple things. Now, let me tell you the thing that I'm alluding to, which is the funniest thing ever, okay? So put yourself in the UFC's position. Okay, they've got one of their biggest stars who's like, I want out, man. But it's Nate, dude. Like, Dana has a good enough relationship with Nate that he's like, all right. Like, he knows Nate's saying things, whatever. He's probably having a hard time reading him. Like, I'm giving Nate, I'm assuming that Nate knows exactly what he's doing, because what his strategy is ending up doing is aligning directly with his interests. If I was his manager, if I was giving him strategy, I would be telling him to do exactly what he's doing. Fight it out, man. Don't sign, exactly what I just laid out. I'd be telling him to do exactly that. And Nate just happens to be doing that. If I'm in the UFC though, and I'm like trying to figure out, I'm like, does he like know what he's doing? Anyway, so they meet with Nate, right? This is according to Nate. So they set up a meeting. And the day when Nate took the picture where he's pissing in on the UFC building, what had happened earlier is Nate had met with Dana and Hunter. And when they went in there to try to negotiate and figure out what his last fight was going to be, or if he was going to resign or whatever, Nate asked for a fight against Israel Adesanya or Francis. That's what he asked for. He said, just give me a fight. I'll take a fight against Francis or Israel Adesanya. And they walked out and left him in there. Okay. If you don't think that's fucking hilarious, then I don't know, like, because here's the thing. You have to operate under the assumption, like I do, that Nate knows exactly what he's doing, okay? Like, start to understand that he's playing dumb. He's not actually dumb. He's actually really fucking smart, okay? So when you take that into account and you just stop pretending that there's any chance that Nate is just like, kind of like, blah, 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 like that's what people seriously think. And I'm like, bro, Nate's fucking smart, dude, okay? Playing dumb is smart strategy. Francis is the king of playing dumb, dude. Now, Francis, it's less obvious that he's like completely not dumb. Like, you look at Francis, you look in his eyes, at least if you're good at reading people, which Dana for sure is. If I can tell what Francis is, Dana for sure can tell what Francis is. And Francis is kind of going, oh, I don't know, like he's got that fucking look down. Like oh geez, oh, do you think that whatever? And he's looking at you like, and you look past the enormous fighter, no formal education, and you look in his eyes and he's just sitting there. He's like, you think I'm dumb and I'm just picking up information. Just keep talking. Yeah. Convince me of your genius plan. And all he's doing is downloading data, dude. So put Nate in that same position and then consider he went in there under the guise of like, yeah, you guys, let's negotiate. And they're like, okay, Nate, so what do you want to do? And he goes, well, geez, guys, I think the thing that I would really love to do is fight Francis Ngannou. And they're like, okay, or is he? And he can pull it off because he's convinced the world that he's like a half dumbbell, right? Like, he's convinced them that like there's a world where he's seriously asking to fight Francis Ngannou. And then when he goes public, he's all, man, the only people that are big enough to even sit in the ring, like the only people big enough, Francis, man. The only person that I can see myself fighting where someone else has a chance is Francis. None of these guys are big enough to fight me otherwise. And people are like, dude, is he fucking crazy? Just get it out of your mind, dude. He's not crazy. He's fucking with them. He's fucking with them 100%. He's fucking with you if you even entertained that he's being serious about fighting Israel Adesanya. He's fucking with you, dude. And if you can't figure that out when he says, I want to fight Francis, then you're the fucking dumb one, dude. Like, he says, oh yeah, I went in there and I demanded Francis. And the UFC fucking Hunter and Dana bounced. They fucking bounced, dude. They were like, oh, all right. Yeah, okay, later. That's a gangster move too. They're like, well, if you're going to fuck with me, then we're going to fuck with you. And they just left him in there. Like, they just left him in there. And then Nate left, and then he pissed on the building and took the picture, put it on social media. Like, that's a fucking hilarious exchange between a bunch of gangsters, dude. Gangster Nate, Gangster Dana. I assume Hunter's a pretty big gangster. I have heard that he's a hardcore motherfucker that's just like, oh yeah, you have no value to us. So, he's the one that they negotiate. Like, primarily you're negotiating with Hunter. And he's like, what I've heard is he is a fucking stonewall gangster. That's just like, yeah, I mean, that sounds reasonable if you hadn't lost 2 out of your last 7 fights. They're all 2 out of my last 7 fights. Dude, I went 5-2 in my last, I just won 5 in a row. I'm sorry, you won 5 in a row? Against who? Listen, dude, the offer's final. So, run along. Or, hey, Colby, yeah. Listen, I think it's really important that you re-sign, right? That you sign this deal right here. And yeah, back end on the pay-per-view with Masvidal. Yeah, no, I don't think you've done anything to earn that. We've been selling. I mean, like, we're former best friends. We've told the whole world that we're in this huge beef. We could have kept that off the record, man. We sold this for 3 years. The pay-per-view is being sold directly because of personal relationship between me and George. We've been selling this thing for 3 years. Oh, all I heard was blah, 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 blah. I'm never getting a title shot. Wait, what? Yeah, never. Yeah, never. We'll never give you another title shot. So just sign this contract right here, bitch. Right here. Here, you want to use my dick to sign it? Here, you can use it from over there. You'll be able to read. Here. I already inked it up, dude. Sign it with my dick. Be gentle. Gentle with it, bitch. So, yeah. A bunch of gangsters doing a bunch of gangster moves. That is fucking hilarious, dude. And if you don't think that's funny, you don't have a good sense of humor. Anyway, that's what I got. So if you want to join the community, do it. Love you guys. Peace.